In 1895, the Lumiere brothers invented the cinematograph, which was the three-in-one device which recorded, captured and projected a motion picture, but at the time, directors only recorded what they thought was amusing or something they liked. Augustus Lumiere quoted, "My invention can be exploited as a scientific curiosity, but apart from that, it has no commercial value whatsoever." George Méliès. George Méliès was one of the audience's members in the Lumiere brothers' first ever film, and I obviously captivated Méliès because he approached the Lumiere brothers after the showing and proposed to buy their cinematograph, but was turned down by the brothers, who realized they would have some competition. Turned down by the brothers' refusal, Méliès seeked out a man by the name of Robert Paul in London, and though viewing his camera, he was able to build his own camera projector, and he was able to present his first film screening on April 4th, 1896. Méliès started then showing other people's films which were made for the kinetoscope, and in the later months he started developing his one-shot films which lasted about a minute.
Edwin S. Porter. Although the Lumiere brothers invented something great, Edwin S. Porter emerged to show that film did not have to be one long still in 1901. Edwin S. Porter also used footage to portray a different story that was unrelated to what the original footage was meant to portray. And in 1901 he showed his film The Life of American Firemen.
In the year 1908, D.W. Griffith's film For the Love of God featured the first ever continuity cut in film history. The purpose of a continuity cut is so to smooth over the inherent discontinuity of the editing process and to establish logical coherence between shots. D.W. Griffiths then realised that emotions could also be captured and portrayed through the use of different camera angles and the pace of editing, which the method was not all reliant on the actors. In the 1920s, pioneering Russian director Sergei Eisenstein and Dziga Vertov demonstrated the new type of filming which shows the technical and aesthetic and ideological potentials of montage. Einstein believed that the film montage could impact the audience watching it, and if he edited two pictures together, it would then make a third thing which would make the whole greater than the sum of the individual parts. Eisenstein's greatest example of montage was the steps, a scene from Battleship Potemkin, where he stretched the dash down the steps but made it 7 minutes long and drew it out 7 times longer than it should have taken, causing the audience to be drawn in more. Films and videos that feature this effect: Eisenstein's Battleship Potemkin, 1925. Eisenstein and Dziga Vertov's effect on montage.
Kuleshov technique. In the year 1920, the Kuleshov technique was discovered by Soviet director and film theorist Lev Kuleshov. It is a mental phenomenon by which viewers derive more meaning from the interaction of the two sequential shots than from a single shot in isolation. Analog editing. Analog editing was a technique used before a computer was even invented. In times when analog editing was used, one would create a film through having a razor blade and a diagonal splicing block. After the tape was cut where it needed cutting, it would have to be taped back together, which would be repeated over and over again until a film was created. A moviola or KEM was commonly used to execute this process.
Digital editing was the next stage from the analog editing technique. It is a much faster and efficient way of editing and producing film. Image editing encompasses the processes of altering images, whether they are digital photographs, traditional photochemical photographs, or illustrations. Numerous softwares can produce video or film in this manner, such as Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, and iMovie. Footage is put on a timeline and edited using cuts, effects, and many more techniques. Advantages of editing over film: you can record more in a short amount of time, less risk of you losing data, film getting damaged, more efficient and much faster, better storage, can store more film in drives and backup data.
Development of editing. Editing has allowed the film industry to become more popular than ever before. It has become more interesting for audience through aspects such as camera angles, narrative, actors, and many more. As displayed in D.W. Griffith's film The House of Darkness, we can see that Griffith did use some aspects of editing and fades, but compared to 21st century films, they have changed drastically due to the development of both software and hardware, with the addition of today's knowledge in film and editing being much more vast and sophisticated. Although films nowadays use a lot of special effects, such as in Batman, camera angles and many more techniques are still used to create films the audience wants and also involve them within the storyline of the film. Purpose of editing. Relation to the genre. Different genres of film have different conventions when it comes to editing. Different techniques and styles are used to illustrate genre. Example, action. Action films contain a lot of fast-paced editing. This is to show that the pacing in this movie is fast. The type of editing is commonly found in car chases and fight scenes. Long shots are commonly used to establish a scene. Horror. In horror films, fast editing is also used. This is to scare viewers. The audience are anxious as they do not know what is coming next and are waiting to be scared by the next quick shot. Low shots are also used to create fear. It shows the character's intimidation and authority over the other characters.